What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Bros Talking Soccer World Cup recap podcast. My name is Dave Kindle. We are recapping day 3. Today is Saturday, June 16th. And sorry, I am getting an echo. All right, there we go. Sorry for that intro. Um, so I'm here with my brother Christian. Sorry, Christian, how are you doing today?
Dave, it's just one of those days that happens sometimes on Saturday mornings after a fun Friday night. So
Yeah.
it's one of those kinds of days. And I have a
You
wedding to go to, which is right now I'm dreading, but I know it's gonna be fun. I just gotta recover a little bit.
get some fluids in you.
I
Eat
tried and it's not working
food.
well.
Okay. Well, just ease into it. Maybe get some crackers, some ginger ale. Got to just ease into it.
Crackers.
Crackers. So we are coming to you after the first 2 games right now. So anyone listening on the podcast, after we get done here with Christian, you're going to hear a little bit of music, and then we will recap the second 2 matches. But anyone watching on YouTube, we're only recapping the first 2 matches right now. So it was France, Australia, and then Argentina, Iceland, and then we'll do the others in a few hours. Christian won't be with us. He's going to a wedding. Matt may or may not be with us, and it may just be me talking to myself. So, we'll see. We'll see how this thing
Oh, those are
goes.
always just the best.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited to just ramble by myself. But if you are watching live on YouTube, feel free to say hello, interact with us. We would love to hear your thoughts on everything that's been happening. First match of the day, France versus Australia. 3 o'clock in the morning, my time, up at it. France prevailed 2-1. Christian, what were your thoughts on the match?
It was I think it's hard on France, not France, Australia. Sorry, my brain's not working.
All
I
right,
think
this
it's
is going to
hard
be a
on
good one.
yeah, hard on Australia to accept not getting something out of that game. I think they played way above expectations for me. I really expected them to come in last in this group and kind of didn't expect anything from them. I think Peru and Denmark are that game later is going to end up being a more important game to determine who comes in second, but the way Australia played, they can hang with both of those two teams. France is the most talented squad they're going to come up against. And I think France did not play well. But, I mean, I don't really know where they go from here because they have such talent and they're going to see games like that out. But when they come up against stronger opposition, I can't imagine them beating them playing like that.
So for me, I think it's unfair on France to say that. I know a lot of people are having that same take, but for me, Australia played really well. They played physical. They were organized defensively, and when a team is organized, not conceding space, France is they're the ones who have to take the initiative and are really trying to force the game. And so for me, again, I thought France played okay. I mean, they didn't play great, but I thought they played fine given the circumstances. I thought that they were moving the ball fairly okay. They probably could have had a little bit more movement, but I thought they were playing through the lines. The center backs were getting it straight into the forwards. And, for me, I thought in hindsight, looking back, they should have started with Giroud. As soon as he came on, the complex of the game changed and they had a target forward that the runners could run off of, excuse me. I thought that
They could
earlier.
run to
Yeah, they could run too. Earlier in the game, they just had runners and they didn't have a focal point, and so I think that's where things were getting a bit lost. But for me, I thought France played fine.
I mean,
Um,
there are teams though that play without a focal point striker, and it's successful. So, and especially with Mbappe and Griezmann up there, those are two very, very talented, very good with the ball at their feet, very good at running in behind types of players.
but that's not.
So,
But that's not the game for Australia to have running in behind. Like there just was no space for them to run and move in.
yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of teams that play that way, so I don't really fault them for trying to start out that way. But I see what you're saying in hindsight. Maybe okay, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
he
So like,
could have made a difference.
yeah, in hindsight, I think Giroud probably should have started, and against teams that are going to bunker, I think that's what they should do. Now, the VAR decision on the penalty, which was France's first goal, what was your take on that?
Yes, that is correct. I saw he got a slightest touch of the ball, the Australian defender, but it really didn't affect anything, and he went straight through Griezmann, and it was definitely in the box.
Yeah,
My only other point is I think the rule changed that it can't be a red card when it's a penalty and a one-on-one with the goalie or denial of a goal scoring opportunity. So the yellow card was also correct.
I'm the same way. I saw a couple people saying that there was a little bit of controversy. They weren't sure that it was a penalty and VAR shouldn't have even been used because it was debatable. I'm not sure how this was really debatable. I mean, he very clearly studs into Griezmann's Achilles and doesn't really. I mean, he might get the slightest touch of the ball, but just because you get the ball doesn't mean it's not a foul.
Yep.
So for me, yeah, I think it was very clear. Good use of VAR. I have no issues there.
Mm-hmm.
Moving do you want to say something else?
No, that's right.
The other somewhat controversial thing was the France penalty. For those who haven't seen it, Australia swung in. I don't know if I think it was a free kick. Umtiti, who wasn't pressured in any way, there wasn't an Australian player within 3 yards of him. For some reason, decided to stick his arm up and try to bat the ball out, and very clear penalty. Christian, any thoughts on what the hell was going through Umtiti's head?
I'm still scratching my head at that one. I have no idea what he was doing. Why on earth are your hands in the air like that? He's not being pushed, so there's no reason for him to like be flopping around the way that a lot of players do when they are pushed. And honestly, there was nobody. I don't think anyone was going to win that ball from Australia. I don't think anyone was around him.
No,
So
Varane was right
what
behind him.
exactly? What are you thinking in that situation that you think your hands should be above your head? Because you're just running that risk. Even if it didn't hit it, if you do that all the time, eventually it's going to happen. What?
Eventually, you mean it's going to hit your hand?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, it's inexplicable. And the funny thing was, I tweeted earlier in the first half that I thought Varane and Umtiti were by far the best center backs in the world right now, the best center back pairing in world soccer. And then he goes and does that, and so that tweet didn't make me look too good. But I still ultimately think that because I think that their physical presence combined with their technical and tactical abilities, I think they are the best center back pairing. But do you have any comments on that thought?
On if they're the best
Yeah.
pairing? I mean, it's hard. I think Boateng and Hummels are the best pairing. They play together at the club level, and they're just insane. They complement each other really well. Boateng's more of the physical tool, and Hummels is more of a game controller and just marshal of the defense. But I think Umtiti is an awesome player for Barcelona, but playing in a different system like France is not really the same as Barcelona. And Varane is a freak of nature. He's really got everything you need to be a top quality center back. But the way they were playing together was good up until like that moment. That was the only real letdown that they had. They were very good, but I still think that Germany is a better center back pairing.
Okay, that's a good shout. Yeah, it's tough to argue that. Lastly, France, second goal. Finally, Giroud came in. They got more interplay in the midfield. I think what was happening so much is that you didn't see a ton of overlapping or creative runs happening. Finally, Giroud, they had a focal point. They played it in. Pogba went on a run and eventually got back to him. They got a very fortunate deflection, but again, I thought it all came from a good sequence of play. And so, it's tough to say if a goal's deserved or not, but I felt like, they had more movement and you could see kind of that play developing. And I thought that was good just from France overall. So thoughts there, Christian?
Yeah, it was good build-up play. It kind of reminded me of a couple Arsenal goals with Giroud, just like kind of flicking the ball around. But the goal was bizarre. The way that it went in, it is a good finish. I can't really tell. Like I've seen it multiple times. Like was it deflected?
It was 100% deflected.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just making sure.
I don't even think it was. I think what Pogba, I'm not even sure if he was trying to shoot or trying to deflect it like around the defender to get on the other side.
It didn't look like he was shooting the way that he went to get the ball. So
I think it was very fortunate, just everything that happened. And then it went, like a couple centimeters over
I
the
can't
line?
believe, like, when they were showing, like, they kept showing the replay before they showed goal line decision. And I kept saying, that ball's not over the line. I'm really confused. And then when they finally showed it, it is the tiniest little bit. It is insane. That is one of the closest calls I've ever seen in any regard.
Benefit to having goal line technology. So, it's good that we have it.
Really, yeah, because I don't think that was going to get called. If not, I doubt it at least.
Yeah, I don't know how you could have awarded it, or at the very least, the human would have had to make a judgment call.
Human.
And the human. Christian, anything else you wanted to add from this game? No,
Sorry, Mom started talking to me.
it's okay.
I missed that.
Anything else you want to add from this game? The benefits of living at home.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Um, anything I want to add to this game? I was I just want to say that I'm very impressed with Australia again. They were really good tactically, and they did their game plan really well. They were slowing down the game because they can't keep up with the pace of and quality of France in terms of individual players, but they held their shape really well. And when they needed to, they fouled tactically. Nothing really that dirty. It was just smart professional play. And they aren't flashy going forward, but they were very good on set pieces. I was really impressed with, especially Moy swinging that ball in.
Yeah, his delivery was great. So yeah, props to Australia, but also props to France for coming through. I know that they were favored and struggling through most of that game, but at the end of the day, they got the result, so that was good to see. Now let's move on to Hello, Kevin. Is that Kevin?
That's your brother Matthew.
Oh, that's Matt. Okay, there's weird
Yeah. He
lighting. I
goes, "Hi,
can't see.
Kevin."
No.
All right.
I'm Kevin Matthews.
Okay, we're live. Matt, would you like to jump in and give your thoughts, or are you leaving?
What's he say?
He's talking to you.
Hey,
Hello.
we got the new bro, or well, new, not new, but
yeah,
old new bro coming
Old
back
new bro.
to talk
This is Matt.
podcast.
new old bro.
Yeah.
What'd you make of the France-Australia game, Matthew?
Me and Christian went out last night, very late. So I had my
Matt
alarm
didn't see the
set.
game.
Yeah. I had my alarm set for 5:45. I woke up. I did some thinking and decided going back to sleep was the better use of my time.
Some thinking and
Okay.
some drinking.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So excellent thoughts there. Did you have it? So let's move on to Argentina versus Iceland then. That match finished 1-1. Matthew, did you happen to catch that game?
Yeah. I did watch all of that game.
Thoughts?
The first half, Argentina was not great at all. There was no movement off the ball in the slightest. There was a period from the 8th minute to the 23rd minute where not a single Argentina player made a run off the ball. And like I was watching the whole game, I was like, what on earth is going on? Second half, they looked like the dominant side. They actually played pretty well in the second half. That was better than like what I was expecting from them, especially after the first half.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be like judged like how Messi because he didn't score the penalty, he didn't score the free kick at the end, and people are just gonna compare that to Ronaldo.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And it's the opening game of the tournament. I think that's gonna be a little unfair, but Argentina in the second half looked like they could, be a force in this tournament.
Christian, thoughts on the game?
Yeah, that was a tough one. Iceland played really well in the first half. I'm going to be honest. They looked good. They were creating chances on the counterattack, even though they had 30 passes in the whole first half. I'm pretty sure they only had almost 100 passes.
Yeah,
total
I think it was
for
like
the entire game.
95.
Yeah, I thought I misheard that when it was like 500 something passes.
It's
and they're,
like
to
one
94,
per minute
and I was
in
like,
the whole game. That's if you break that down, that's absurd.
oh yeah, and
No, I thought it was 95 in the first half.
No.
I thought they said
could be wrong.
the 90 something minute they said 500 passes to 94.
Oh wow, yeah. Then I wasn't. It's early for me too, so I may have misheard that.
Yeah, so that's insane that they were able to come out with a point in a game where they were that utterly dominated by over 80% possession and that many passes. It was really, really impressive that they weren't giving up goals and they were really locked down defensively. They rarely gave up any chances. Messi had very little impact in the attacking sense, it seemed like, for the whole game. And
yeah, I credit
I don't understand.
Iceland for that. I thought that they did an exceptional job of defending Messi. I thought they had 2, maybe 3 players kind of swarming him, but they weren't swarming attempting to tackle. They were swarming kind of blocking off lanes and just kind of shepherding him somewhere. And so I thought that they just did an exceptional job team defending him.
Yeah, he's their sheep. He's shepherding.
And they are the shepherds.
They are the shepherds.
Yep, exactly.
The 3 shepherds. They bring gifts of myrrh and frankincense.
Can we say how that game ended after the final whistle? The American commentary on Fox. I didn't know who the announcer was, but he just yells after the final whistle. Iceland have beaten Argentina 1-1.
He did. He goes, they've beaten them 1-1.
John Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I was just
He
like,
said the headlines will be Iceland have beaten Argentina 1-1.
So in
I was
fairness,
just
I know that is absolutely ridiculous. I immediately put it on mute and started getting ready for this, so I did not hear that. But I mean, you understand it to an extent. Argentina is absolute world soccer royalty. Iceland is a country of 350,000 people or so, 400,000 people. They're making their World Cup debut against this powerhouse, and they got a draw. And they played well defensively, and they went toe to toe with them, especially in the first half. So I understand what he's trying to do. It sounds ridiculous taken out of context, but I kind of understand it. Now,
he also said after that it's a huge uphill battle for Argentina the rest of the way. I don't really know if I agree with that. I mean, Croatia is more difficult, but I think Nigeria is similar to Iceland in
Nigeria beat them
who do they play next?
Hmm?
Who do they play next?
Croatia.
I mean, I feel like it would be. I don't know about uphill, but it's definitely not getting the 3 points against Iceland's definitely gotta, put a scare in them, especially playing Croatia.
Spain
next.
lost in 2010 in the first game.
True. Yeah, it's definitely not over, but I had Argentina coming through in second out of this group, and I still hold to that. I think Croatia is going to come out in first, and we'll see how it all plays out now. So I got into some arguments on Twitter. I want to talk about the Messi penalty. So before we get to the Messi penalty, actually, what were your thoughts on the penalty being called, Matt? Do you think it was a legit penalty?
Yeah, I think it was a penalty. He clobbered into the guy, kind of recklessly. It's unfortunate. There's no I don't think it should have been a card or anything. There was no card given for that play, but I think it was a pretty clear foul.
Okay, Christian.
Yeah, it was very straightforward. That's
okay. All right. I didn't know if
a penalty.
I didn't know if anyone thought differently. Yeah, I think the same. Now, so for the penalty, I got into an argument. Stu Holden said it was a very poor penalty, and for me, I find it frustrating when announcers say it's either a good or a poor penalty and not have any sort of wiggle room. And so it wasn't a great penalty, and I'm not saying it was a good penalty, but the keeper dove the right way. Messi put it to, about keeper height, and he put it to a side. It wasn't in the corner. So it certainly wasn't a good penalty, but I wouldn't say it was a poor penalty. Am I completely crazy for saying that?
Goalkeepers never get credit for penalty saves, I feel like. It's always the kicker's fault for not scoring it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fair.
And even the ones that go in where the goalie goes the wrong side, they're like, oh, great penalty, where somebody
exactly. That could have
Thank
been
you.
the exact same penalty if you went the other way. And they would have been like, oh, that's a great composure penalty right there, sending the keeper the wrong way.
Okay. So I'm not crazy because I was getting into it. I think these guys were.
Well, you might be a little crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
I used to think you were crazy.
Yeah.
And now
more than a little. Okay. So you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from because just because a goalkeeper dives the wrong way doesn't mean the penalty is good or bad. He hit the target. The goalkeeper went the right way. I mean, what else do you really want him to do? I mean, he definitely could have been better.
It's not towards the corner as much as it probably could have been, and it was at a height that is perfect for a goalkeeper. So I understand it wasn't a great penalty.
Yes,
but it wasn't the worst penalty I've ever seen either.
Yeah, and so I don't know. For me, it wasn't a poor penalty. It was just it wasn't a good penalty. And so I think there's this black and white where it's either good or poor. And so for me, it certainly wasn't.
To be fair, like Ronaldo's and Griezmann's were powerful to the corners.
Those were good penalties.
Yeah, exactly.
Great penalties.
So that's I guess what they're comparing to.
Okay, fair enough. Excellent job defending Messi. Yep, already mentioned that. And then last thing, I can't believe Javier Mascherano is still starting. What is he, 35, 34? I mean, I thought he played okay. He was slow in certain times, but I thought he played fairly fine. I just can't believe Argentina hasn't found someone to replace him in the middle of the field who could be someone a little bit more dominant. So for me, it was just shocking kind of seeing him out there and still running around. I thought he did fine, but, I would have expected maybe them to have somebody more dominant in the middle. Thoughts?
Right now, the only person I can see in there is you put Bilia and Banega in together and take him out. But I think Mascherano is the best that they have, unfortunately, right now.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have a player in mind that should have been there instead of him. What I'm saying is I can't believe from an Argentinian development perspective, they haven't produced a player that could have unseated him in the starting lineup. So for me, that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, he has been like incredible leader on that team for a long, long time, though. So
today he broke the cap record.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
For Argentina.
Yeah. So he's always been locked down. He is one of the craziest slide tacklers I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, I still don't understand how he does it. He tackles from behind all the time, but always wins the ball cleanly. I've never seen anyone tackle that way. And he can't really be replaced right now because they don't have anyone else who can sit in there. He's not going to run forward and lose his positioning. He's going to stay there. He's going to distribute well, and he's not going to do anything that he knows he can't do. So they have trust in him to do that, and he's a vocal leader on the field for them, which I think they don't have as well.
Last thing I wanted to mention about this game was late in the first half, I found it really fascinating. There was a play when someone on Argentina went to go cross the ball. An Icelandic defender went to go block the cross. And so he did that thing where defenders, slide. They have their one arm up and they put their other hand down to brace themselves. And it hit his hand that was down. And they brought on Dr. Joe, at least on the Fox broadcast, who's like the referee consultant. And he said refs have been instructed that the lower hand, if it hits that, it's a natural part of the body and that's not going to be called. So I found that fascinating to have that level of clarity. If it hits the upper hand, it is going to be called. So, I wanted to throw that out there. Do you have any thoughts on that, Christian?
I love that we have that information, that we know what the refs have been instructed to do, because now going forward, if it happens again, we have that to go back to. And if it's not called any other times in this tournament, okay, everyone was listening. Everyone followed that same instruction. But if it is called in the future now in this tournament, you're going to say, okay, well, this is what we were told. What's the decision here? Because all of them are going to be reviewed with VAR, all penalties, I believe. So I don't know how you can, if the ref calls that, how can you overturn it, though?
Probably an indirect
Are they
free
going
kick.
to do that? No, I'm saying, do you think they'll overturn it if he calls a penalty there?
They should, right? I mean, that if that's the instruction.
If that's the instruction by FIFA for this tournament, then yeah, that is what it should be. And I agree that the top hand should always be a penalty. There's no reason your hand should be up here. But the one on the ground is interesting because let's say you're falling down really slow or just stumbling and trying to hold the ground or hold yourself up. That's not really part of your body at that point. You're just extending yourself. You're just laying down, though. Yes, your arm is part of your body. I understand.
Okay.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
But
so your arm's not on your body?
If you are stumbling, holding yourself up, taking a few steps, keep moving your hand across the ground, almost like another leg, and it hits your arm.
Like a third leg.
Yeah. Then that has to be a penalty, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there will be context. I think this was a very clear action of when a guy is going to slide down, that is how it's going to be called. I think it's going to be open to interpretation, but at least we have a little bit of clarity on.
I think everyone should have their hands on their sides, like a slip and slide, and just.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Matt. Anything else you wanted to add on the Argentina-Iceland match?
I can't believe Caballero is their starting keeper.
Oh my God.
Argentina.
Yeah, he was parrying the ball into some dangerous areas, and that's I thought it was harsh. Stu Holden was kind of blaming him for Iceland's goal on where he parried it. I mean, on that particular one, I thought there was a guy coming in. He just got a deflection on it, and I think it was harsh to fault him for that. But there was another one where he could have gotten that way out of the way, the danger area, and he just put it right into the middle of the top of the box. So that's definitely going to be a story. And I've been saying it that Argentina's defense and goalkeeper are going to be an issue for them as they go deeper in this tournament, if they even make it far. Christian, anything else you wanted to add?
Definitely.
Yeah. Christian, anything else you wanted to add on Argentina, Iceland?
Nope.
Okay. Matt, we'll get both of you because I don't know who's going to be here later, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Costa Rica versus Serbia, Germany versus Mexico, and Brazil versus Switzerland. Those are the matches for tomorrow. Christian, do you want to just run through kind of your thoughts real quick?
Yeah, I think Serbia is going to be too strong for Costa Rica. I think it'll be a closely fought match for pretty much the whole time, but I think Serbia will be too strong for them. Maybe a 2-0 win, something like that in the end. Germany, Mexico. Ugh, God, I hope Germany win, and I think that they will. But I think that's going to be one of the group games to watch. I think it's going to be really tightly contested, and I think Germany's just got too much quality in the end. to not win that game, but I think both teams will score and maybe 2-1. And what was the last game?
It was Brazil, Switzerland.
Brazil's way too strong. I think 3-0.
Matt, thoughts on those games?
First game is which one's the first game?
Costa Rica, Serbia.
Costa Rica, Serbia. Sorry, I'm trying to get the order right here. Okay, so Costa Rica, Serbia. I think I'm got Serbia winning that one. Yeah, Costa Rica. What they did last World Cup was incredible, but I don't think it's the same strength squad as last time. So I don't think they're going to be able to, repeat how well they played last. It was England and Italy were in their group last World Cup, right?
Was it Italy or Uruguay?
Both, all of them.
I think all of them. And they came out of that group.
They won the group.
I didn't realize Italy was also in that group.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, last World Cup, that was incredible for them, but I don't see them with the same strength squad. Germany, Mexico, I have Germany winning that game. Mexico, I don't like how the media is calling Mexico America's second team when they're our biggest rival.
Yeah, it's 100% a marketing ploy because there are a lot of Mexican Americans living in this country, and they're trying to get that viewership and try to play to that angle.
Yeah, I know, but just like as a soccer culture, I hate that like our biggest rival at the national level, like we have to like convince non-soccer fans to care about them and like to root for them, when like in reality, I don't think we should be rooting for Mexico.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. So I definitely fall into the same camp,
especially because of our heritage.
Yeah,
heritage. Yes,
heritage.
And then,
and Brazil. Yeah, I have Brazil. I didn't realize Switzerland's like 6th in the world rankings right now.
I feel like they're always up there, and it's really weird.
Can they be that high? Because wouldn't they have been a seeded team if they were that high and wouldn't be in Brazil's same group?
Well, they may have been lower when.
Oh, maybe they were lower.
Yeah. I was looking at the ranking this morning. Like Brazil was, I think, 2, and Switzerland was 6. So I still think Brazil is the best team in this tournament. I think they'll be able to handle Switzerland pretty well. So I have them going through multiple goals, winning by multiple goals.
All right, cool. So I will give my thoughts on everything later in the podcast. So if you're watching on YouTube in a few hours, I'll be back, hopefully with Matt, but maybe it's just going to be me talking to myself. If you're listening to the podcast, you're going to hear a little bit of music, and then we'll be back with part 2 real quick. Christian, thanks for being here. I hope you feel better.
Thanks.
Good luck with your recovery. Matt, I hope you have a good rest of your day. And, hopefully I talk to you later. If not, I'm sure I'll talk to both of you guys tomorrow. We're going to have a special guest, JS from England. So he's going to be on to break down the World Cup games. Ooh. But thank you for tuning in. We're going to go to break here, and we'll be back real soon. Talk to you guys. Thank you.